is from yesterday's hearing. This is Senator Richard Blumenthal questioning Adam Mosseri, who is the CEO of Instagram.
Instagram is addictive. That's the view that has been repeated again and again and again by people who are expert in this field. Parents know it, and for teens who see Instagram's algorithms encouraging, for example, eating disorders, they find it almost impossible to stop. The UK code restricts Instagram's use of addictive design, legally restricts its use of addictive design. Shouldn't we have a similar rule in the United States?
Senator, respectfully, I don't believe the research suggests that our products are addictive.
What?
Research actually shows that on 11 of 12 difficult issues that teens face, teens are struggling, said Instagram helps more than harms. Now, we always care about how people feel about their experiences on our platform, and it's my responsibility as the head of Instagram to do everything I can to help keep people safe, and we're going to continue to do so.
We can debate the meaning of the word addictive, but the fact is that teens who go to the platform find it difficult, maybe sometimes impossible, to stop. And part of the reason is that more content is driven to them to keep them on the site, to aggravate the emotions that are so seductive and ultimately addictive. The UK recognizes it by imposing that design restriction. The same ought to be done in the United States.
So in several countries around the globe, democracies like the UK, Italy, Australia, they have restricted the amount of time, they have restricted the chronological algorithm, they have restricted a lot of the practices that Zuckerberg's companies deploy on us and our children because they find them counter to democratic principles and ideas, the disinformation, the misinformation, counter to public health, and counter to the mental health of their citizens, right? And so in other countries where we associate freedom with, these are not, this is not China. But America does look like it's going down this, hey, collect data on everyone road so we can control these people more than some of the freer countries in the world like Italy and, the UK, where they have a law called the duty to care, And so they're restricting the algorithms. They're saying to these companies who are exploiting humans with this aggressive algorithm that feeds them only things that they seem to want to hear, they restrict that because it's counterproductive to a democratic and free and healthy society. But not here. And so Instagram and Facebook and all the other, TikTok is a Chinese company, you understand. And TikTok literally tracks your children, okay? TikTok actually can pinpoint exactly where the user is at any given time that they're on that platform. So now I actually was reading this article today, trying to figure out what the solutions might look like. And this is where I came across the information that other free countries have legislated. They've put in place restrictions on the kind of information that can be disseminated on these platforms because they're finding the same things that we're finding, and yet we're not doing anything about it. It's sort of the gun issue. It's sort of, 98% of the American people who understand the gun issue are for background checks, but we can't get that done either because of the amount of money that is, sloshing around our politics. Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with, this, and it's the same thing as big tobacco. Remember big tobacco, okay? I'm only a year into being a non-smoker, right? I smoked for, 30 years of my life because big tobacco refused to tell children. They targeted us. They targeted 12 and 13-year-olds and the menthol cigarettes, the whole 9 yards, right? They had ads on the TV with doctors in lab coats telling us 4 out of 5 doctors recommend Winston because it tastes like a cigarette should. They were actually saying cigarettes can calm your nerves. They were saying women like Tareyton, whatever, or Virginia Slims. You've come a long way, baby. And it took forever. It took forever to get the cigarette companies to finally get exposed by our legislatures and tell us that cigarettes would kill you. Cigarettes either would kill you or they would give you something called COPD, better known as emphysema, long-term care, oxygen dependent, getting winded, just, tying your shoe, walking up a flight of stairs would probably be the way you experienced senior years, right? And they didn't want to tell you that. They targeted us as teenagers because that is when you are most susceptible to these advertising branding efforts. And that is exactly what's going on with Instagram. It's exactly their model. It's no different than big tobacco. And until and unless we actually legislate them into turning over the scientific information, in the case of big tobacco, it was that nicotine and tar and all that stuff, was gunking up your lungs and making it impossible for you to hold air in your little air sacs. It was, making the cilia, the little hairs that cleanse your lungs, lay down on the job and not be able to service your lungs and clean them out, causing respiratory distress and lung cancer and other things. So now we have to actually say, we need those damn algorithms, and they won't turn them over while they testify over and over again. Oh, yes, we take your input seriously, and we want to have an expert panel come and look at the way we do our business and make recommendations, and then slowly we'll implement them if ever, or, that would be good, as a commission. We need a commission to study the effect. Meanwhile, today in the New York Times, I have to tell you, this is just so freaking frightening that I know it's holiday time and I really hesitated about whether or not to tell you this, but I think you should know because families are going to spend time together and you're going to start to notice things that maybe you haven't seen in the kids. Things maybe you have seen in the kids, but you didn't understand why they were doing it, or things that are happening to you. There's a 29-page article about children, kids, teens, 17-year-olds in Dallas and, 25-year-olds feeling miserable in Pennsylvania at their warehouse job and 30-year-olds in, Ireland. I mean, it's global. Seeking websites that help explain to them why they're so depressed, why they're struggling with their emotions, why they feel this lack of hope or joy. And the despairing are logging on, and guess what they're being taught now? I mean, it's not just the girls with the eating disorders, which we've heard from the woman, the whistleblower at Facebook, right? We heard her testimony telling us that they know what they're doing, and they're doing it anyway because they want to get kids hooked to the platform. Wait, this is hideous. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.